Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the Sunbridge Plant Hanger. To start with, you should have your wooden hoop and 6 pieces of 5 metre length cord. So the first thing we're going to do is take the ends of our cords, just one end of each cord, and we're going to thread those through the hoop. And then you're just going to pull them until they hang evenly on both sides, so all of your ends should be lining up at the bottom. Once you've threaded your cords through the hoop, we're going to secure them here with a wrap knot. So to do that, you're going to take one of your 0.5 metre cords, these ones. First, you're just going to lay it over all of your cords like this. Then we're going to bring it up and form a little loop, holding that right below the wooden hoop. And then you're going to wrap the longer piece around everything 5 times. Make sure that you're pulling that nice and tight. Now once you've gone around the 5th time, you're going to take the little loop that you made at the beginning and you're just going to pull your long cord through that hoop. Okay, and then hold it with your other hand, and then the little piece sticking out on top, we're just going to pull that so that everything is nice and tight. And then you can take a pair of scissors and trim these end pieces. Now, if you want to make this really neat, you can just take your scissors or a big needle and just push those ends into the knot. You can do the top one down into it as well. Now for the next step, you're going to split all of your cords into 3 groups of 4 cords each. So if you start, you just pick 4 cords that are close to each other. Okay. Now with our first group of 4, we're going to tie 10 square knots. So to tie a square knot, you want to take the cord on your left, lay it over the 2 centre cords. Then you're going to take the cord on the right, bring that behind all of the others, and then pull it through that loop that you made there. Now if we pull that nice and tight right up to the wrap knot, and then to complete the square knot, you're going to make a loop on the right, over the centre cords again, and then bring your left cord up behind everything, and then pull that through that loop on the right. Okay, so we want to do 10 square knots, so we're going to do another 9 below that one. So once you've completed your 10 square knots, we're going to do 20 half square knots underneath. So the half square knot is just the first step of the regular one. So you make the loop on the left going over everything. You bring the right cord up behind it all, through the hoop. And that's 1 half square knot. Okay, so what we're going to do is repeat that 19 times, and you'll see that this will start to spiral around. Okay, now that you've completed your 20 half square knots, we're now going to do 10 more full square knots directly underneath. So I'm just going to turn this round. So again, for the square knots, we make the loop with the left first, bring that right cord underneath everything and through that loop, pull it nice and tight, and then we make the loop with the right side, bring the left cord underneath everything, and through that loop again. Okay, so now we're going to do that 9 more times. So now on your plant hanger, you should have your 10 square knots, 20 half square knots, and 10 more square knots. If you need to know how to count those, you can do it by the little knobbles on the side. So if you count just down one side, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On the half square knots, you can do the same, just pick a side and follow it all the way around, counting. Okay, so now that we've done one strip, we're going to split the chords into another group of 4. And then you just repeat that, and then again on the other group of 4. So you should end up with 3 straps that look like this one. Okay, so now you should have your 3 straps that are all matching with your 10 square knots, your 20 half square knots, and your 10 square knots. Now you want all 3 of these to be about the same length. If for some reason one of them's a little bit longer, you can just grab the centre cords and just give everything a little push. Work your way up, pushing those to tighten those knots up. So for our next step, we're going to make the basket that your pot is going to sit in. So to do that, we want to join these straps together. So for the first one, we're going to take the knotting cord and the centre cord from one of your groups. And then the one next to it, we're going to take the knotting cord and the centre cord that are closest. So the cords that before were your knotting cords, so that would be these 2. These are going to come together and they're going to be your centre cords now. And then you're going to do your knotting with these 2 that were your centre cords previously. Okay, so we want to start about 15 centimetres under your last knots. So you can use a ruler if you want to be really precise. I'm going to sort of guess it. So we'll go about here. What you're going to do now is we want to tie 12 half square knots. Okay, so there's your first one. You just want to make sure you're 15 centimetres below your last knots. So you can see now that we've got them 12 half square knots and they're nicely joining those 2 straps together. So what we want to do now is work our way around so that they're all joined. So we're going to use these 2 cords, and again we're going to grab the closest knotting cord from this one and the closest centre cord. We're going to go about 15 centimetres below. We want to be in line with this one. We're just going to tie another 12 half square knots to join these 2 together, remembering that the ones that you were previously knotting with up here are going to be in the centre. So now you can see we've almost finished joining the straps together. We've just got these last 2 that we need to do. So again, same applies. The cords you previously knotted with are going to go into the centre, and the ones that were previously the centre, they're going to be the ones that we're going to tie these knots with. So now that we've finished with our 12 half square knots, as you can see, all 3 of your straps are now connected. So to finish off and make the base for the pot, around 5 centimetres under your half square knots, we're going to tie another wrap knot. So again, you lay your cord over, we make that little loop, and then we're going to wrap the long part around 5 times, making sure that we pull everything nice and tight. Once you've got your 5 times wrapped around, again we're just going to go through the loop that we made earlier, pull that nice and tight. And then from the top, we just pull it to tighten everything up. And then again, we can just trim these pieces. And then tuck them in with the end of your scissors. So for the final step, you should notice that you've got this big long tail underneath your plant pot holder. Now when I give you the measurements for this plant pot holder, I do give you quite a lot of cord, just in case you go a bit wrong somewhere, it gives you a little bit to play with. So what we're going to do now is cut the tail of the plant pot holder. You can do this as long as you want. I like to go quite long with mine. So we're just going to grab it all together. And cut through there. Hopefully your scissors are a bit better than my scissors are. Now that's ready for you to put your plant pot in. So put your plant pot in, open it up and just gently slot that plant pot in there.